judge in Florida releasing the warrant from the unprecedented raid at Trump's Florida home. It reveals the former president is potentially being investigated for obstruction of justice and violations of the Espionage Act. Agents took 11 sets of classified records from the estate during the search. President Trump is responding, saying he declassified all those documents. Our reaction in just a second. But first, let's go to David Spun. He's at the Justice Department. I saw you this morning, but there's been a lot of news since then, David.
A lot of news. We've been on TV all day with it, and we'll continue to do so, Dana. Checked with a Department of Justice official. No further comment from the DOJ after Attorney General Merrick Garland's comments yesterday, where he announced that he was behind and he ordered the application for the search warrant into Mar-a-Lago. This is the search warrant, search and seizure warrant that was released today. It's the federal search and seizure warrant for Mar-a-Lago. And I want to put up a graphic that shows you some of the highlights of what was confiscated by the FBI at that raid Monday at Mar-a-Lago. 4 sets of top secret documents, 3 sets of secret documents, 3 sets of confidential documents, an executive grant of clemency issued to Associate Roger Stone, one of the president's longtime associate, unspecified binders of photos. Dana, we also got this list right here. This is a receipt for property. It explains other things like pictures and binders and some other boxes taken. But what we don't have, and we've been saying it all over again, we can't say it enough, is we don't have the affidavit. The affidavit would be much longer. It would have a significant amount of more information. That's what we want to see, because that would give the probable cause for why the FBI went to Mar-a-Lago in the first place. Dana.
All right, David Spun, thank you so much. That issue of probable cause was something I was thinking about earlier, Dan, because we've talked about search warrants, affidavits, but part of all of this is you have to have probable cause. And if it is about classified documents, then maybe we'll never know, because even though the president declassified them, are they available to look at? I don't know.
Right. I mean, there's a number of issues, and you just brought up one of them, which is the president is the ultimate authority when he was the president on what's classified and what's not. Yes, there is a procedure. But let's just be clear, this is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this in American history. So if you're going to have a reason to break precedent and go after your political opponent in the past and potentially in the future, you better damn well produce some cookies. You better not produce. I've done these, by the way, many of these. Was a federal agent for over 12 years. I've done warrant returns. We weren't so fancy as the FBI. We wrote it out in hand. But I'm looking at this here and I'm wondering, okay, so you're about to burn down the constitutional republic like this loser in the Attorney General office is. So what's he producing here? The Russian nuclear codes? Don't see that. The United States nuclear code? Don't see that either. What is he producing? Is it the file on where Amelia Earhart? I don't see any of that. Matter of fact, all I see is, yes, there may be some classified documents. I say maybe because we don't know if they were declassified or not. And I say, okay, if that's the case, he had something he shouldn't have had. There's a process for that, the same process we've done with every other president. So Merrick Garland wants to burn the republic down, infuriate probably 100 million plus Americans over leather-bound boxes of documents. What is this, Anchorman? He has a collection of leather-bound books and, what, fine colognes? This is what we're burning the country down? Why are you laughing? That's funny. I'm not a comedian. I should have done your show today. This is it. You're going to burn the country down over what? Over this? You better produce something, and they haven't produced anything.
One of the things on the list, Greg, is like a box of documents.
Yeah, boxes.
So that's why I think, I don't know if we'll ever actually see these documents until they decide to leak it.
I have to disagree with Dan. This is bigger than Watergate. It's bigger than 9/11. It's bigger than Vietnam, Iran, all combined. It's bigger than the cancellation of Facts of Life. If he actually went home with extremely sensitive material and now he won't give them back, why do you think he would do that? Do you think he's planning on selling these secrets to Russia, or is he going to build his own missile in Bedminster? He already has the bunkers. It's a golf course joke. This doesn't sound at all hysterical, does it? This is not an affidavit. It's a gaffidavit. I just coined that phrase. You can't take anything seriously when it sounds like every hoax that has come before it. The hoax thing is always this, like, it starts off with this big fireball, and then it just starts, and then everybody is going tick, 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 tick on Twitter, and they're going, oh, the walls are closing in, the walls are closing in. And then as it goes away, suddenly the media has to turn on the supporters and say, oh, they're dangerous. What you're going to hear a lot of is, if it's true, if it's true. I heard that on our network, if it's true. These 3 words prefaced every single story that turned out not true. This could be, if it's true, this could bring him down. So to your point, Dan, This is going to be about process. It's going to be the most boring thing ever. A he said, she said about paperwork. The dullest violation you will ever. It's another process crime. Wonderful. An administrative goof. He didn't follow the process because he thought he was the process. And off it goes to court. Meanwhile, all you're left with is Merrick Garland looking like a depressed owl cartoon. And Donald Trump absorbs all that energy. And he decides, I'm going to run again. And he's going to use all that energy to win. Or maybe he won't. All I know is the guy that's coming out on top right now is him. Because this just looks hilarious.
There was some discussion today also about how do you prove intent, right? Because, again, we don't know hardly anything. But this is Brett Tolman. He used to work at DOJ. He was talking about how to prove intent.
You do not have the mental state evidence to prove that there was intent. You have to be able to show that the president himself had the intent to take and keep and refuse to give back classified materials. And that doesn't even include whether or not he designated it or declassified it. It's whether or not he had the intention and that there are overt acts by the president that back up the theory that he had the intention to commit a crime. We don't have any of that.
It's like this since Monday night. We don't have any of that. We now have the search warrant, but as Dan was pointing out, it's pretty vague as to what they took.
I will point you to Attachment B, Paragraph C. Any government and or presidential records created between January 20th, 2017 and January 20th, 2021. That's every record created during the entire Trump presidency. That's what they could take. Andy McCarthy texted me about this, and he said, that's not evidence of a crime at all. It's not, much less a crime of mishandling classified information. It's evidence of a Presidential Records Act violation, and that's not a criminal statute. These search warrants are supposed to be about evidence of crimes, but this warrant allows them to take every shred of paper related to Trump's presidency, regardless of whether it's connected to classified information. Again, these roughly 30 FBI agents should have been carrying rods and reels and buckets of bait, given what they're going into Mar-a-Lago looking for. As Andy has said over and over again, the why now is the January 6th investigation within the Justice Department. Period. End of statement. Full stop. That the why now is that you've had recently, the day after the Mar-a-Lago search, the FBI executed the warrant on Congressman Scott Perry for his phone. And Congressman Perry was the one who introduced the environmental lawyer at the Justice Department to President Trump, Jeffrey Clark. Jeffrey Clark and John Eastman both had search warrants executed on them in June. Jeffrey Clark, I believe, was pulled out of his house, in pajamas when they were searching him. Then you had grand jury subpoenas recently to Pat Cipollone and Patrick Philbin. So search warrant, subpoena, Scott Perry, the phone, and now this. This is they are the garbage men. They're collecting evidence to funnel to the Department of Justice to support the January 6th investigation. Andy has said that all along, and that one little paragraph seems to indicate that. They take anything, anything they want.
Jessica?